Dan, you are now live.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, June 9th, 2021 meeting of the East Lansing Planning Commission. Mr. Menser, will you please call roll?
I'd be happy to. Thank you. Commissioner Cahill. Commissioner Sullivan.
Present, attending remotely from my house in East Lansing, Ingham County.
Thanks. Commissioner Williams.
I am also present, attending remotely from my home in beautiful East Lansing.
Commissioner Boyle.
I'm also attending remotely from my home in East Lansing, Ingham County, Michigan.
Commissioner Wolf.
Here, attending remotely from East Lansing, Ingham County, Michigan.
Commissioner Lapine.
Here, attending remotely, not from my home in Clarkston, Michigan.
Commissioner Wagner.
Here, attending remotely from my home in East Lansing, Michigan.
Commissioner Bowman.
I am here attending remotely from my home in East Lansing, Michigan, Ingham County.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Present in East Lansing, Michigan at my home remotely.
Thank you all.
So that brings us, we do have a quorum. I will thank everyone for their continued patience as we continue to work with this not so new technology. All members of the public who are in attendance this evening will have a chance to address the commission during public comment and during our public hearing. Each commission member will be called on individually to speak during each item. The commission member may say pass if they do not have a comment for that item. Commission members are reminded to state their name before speaking and making a motion and so on, and all votes of consequence will be taken with a roll call vote. Moving us on to item 2.1, the approval of the agenda. There's an agenda included in your packet. I would entertain a motion to approve that agenda.
Boyle, so moved.
Williams, support.
Thank you. That's been moved by Vice Chair Boyle and seconded by Commissioner Williams. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. Let's have a voice vote in this case. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And those opposed? That motion carries. Bringing us on to item 1.3, the approval of the minutes. In your packet was a copy of the draft minutes for the May 26, 2021 meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Wolf, move approval of the minutes of the May 26th meeting.
Sullivan, second.
Thank you. That's been moved by Commissioner Wolf and seconded by Commissioner Sullivan to approve the minutes of the May 26th, 2021 meeting. Is there any discussion on that motion? I'm seeing no hands, and so let's once again have a voice vote. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion carries. Bringing us on to item 2, committee reports. We do not have any active committees, or we do have one active committee, but it's not met in quite some time, and we're sort of waiting for, I guess, the next step of the form-based code process. Item 3, staff reports. Mr. Menser.
I do not have anything to report this evening.
Thank you. Item 4, commissioner announcements. Does any commissioner have anything they wish to announce this evening? Seeing heads shaking, and so then we'll move us on to item 5, communications from citizens. This is the time in our meeting when we invite members of the public to come forward and make a comment on items that are on our agenda or perhaps not on our agenda. If you do have a comment to make on our public hearing, we would generally ask that you hold that until that item is comes up on the agenda, which is the next item actually. However, if you're just here to make general comments, each caller in our queue will have 5 minutes to address the commission. At the end of 5 minutes, you'll be placed back on hold. Callers will be identified by the last 3 digits of their phone number or possibly their initials. When called upon, you will be unmuted. If you do not wish to speak, please indicate so by saying pass. If you do wish to speak, please clearly state your name and address before addressing the commission. This is not a requirement, but it does help us keep accurate minutes of our meeting. With that, I will ask Ms. Ordealis if you will invite our 5 attendees to come forward.
All right, the first to speak is the person with the last three digits of 300. You are now allowed to speak.
It looks like you, oh, please proceed.
Hi, this is Bethany McMillan, attorney over at DTN.
Sure. Are you passing until your item is on our agenda then?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. We'll hear from you shortly.
thank you.
Mhm.
The next person on the queue is the person with the last three digits of their number of 301. You are now allowed to speak.
Hi, this is Walt Wyderko from MSU FCU. I'm just calling in if there's any questions about our approval.
Thank you.
The next caller in the queue has the initials of GP. You're now unmuted and allowed to speak.
Hi, I'm sorry. This is Greg Petrie with KEBS. I am just here for the MSU FCU if there's any questions later.
Thank you.
All right, the next caller in the queue is JT initials. You are now allowed to speak.
I'm here for MSU FCU also.
Thank you.
And the last caller in the queue is the person with the initials of KB. You are now allowed to speak.
Hi, this is Kathy Buck with Neumann Smith Architecture. I'm here for MSU FCU.
Thank you. We'll hear from each of you shortly.
That completes the queue of attendees.
Thank you, Mr. Dialis. And that will bring us in our agenda onto item 6, our first public hearing of the evening, or only public hearing of the evening, excuse me. This is a consideration of an application for a lot split approval from Bethany McMillan to split the western 30 feet of the existing multifamily residential lot located in the 100-year flood zone at 295 Arbor Glen Drive to deed to the Remy Chandler Intercounty Drainage District. The property is in the RM8 Planned Unit Development District. Is this you, Mr. Menzer?
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you tonight. So I want to provide just some brief context for the proposal from Ms. McMillan. So the property, you've got a packet, and this item starts on page 5 of our meeting packet for tonight. And the request is to divide the parcel that is located on the north side of Lake Lansing Road and west side of Abbott Road. It's Arbor Glen Apartments. What they are proposing to do, sorry, I've got a lot of windows open here. What they're proposing to do is divide an area of land 30 feet by 370 feet. It's approximately 0.25 acres in size. Divide that from the larger 12-acre parcel that's occupied by the apartment complex. And so it's really just a land division request. And in the city, the requests, they go through the Planning Commission for public hearing and a recommendation, and then on to City Council for a final decision. The reason for the request, the applicant will provide some reasoning behind the request. I understand that it's related to financing. What it would do is create a parcel that does not meet the underlying zoning district standards. However, in the land division process, City Council is granted authority to offer or to approve variances for the request. So even though it doesn't meet the underlying zoning for size or area, it would, or excuse me, for size and frontage on a street, the council is able to provide a variance from that requirement. As you'll note, the northern tier trail runs along the west side of the property. So right now this parcel of land 30 feet wide is occupied by that trail. There is a trail easement that runs through there. So after speaking to staff from the Parks Department, there's no concerns raised with the future of the trail. The city will continue to have an easement. And then this property would be deeded to the Ingham County Drain Commissioner's Office as part of the drainage district. So in either scenario, the city would maintain the trail and have an easement and access to it for maintenance. And the drain office would have access to the drain for ongoing easement or ongoing maintenance of the drain. So Ms. Schmidt prepared the memo that's in your meeting packet, and the application materials are there. I would call attention specifically to the two surveys. One shows the property as it shows the apartment complex with the area on the west side showing the 30 feet that is proposed to break away. You'll see that it's in the flood plan, and so that 30 feet is located in the floodplain, and as you know, the drain runs through there, so there's floodplain in that area. And then the other survey shows a detail of the piece that proposed to be divided. So I'm available for any questions. I know the applicant noted her presence during the first public comment, so she's also available to further explain the request and answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Let's start with any questions for Mr. Menzer. Vice Chair.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions if I could. The drainage district's a public body. I know there's no intention of building on this small piece of property, and it doesn't abut a public road and all these other things that would normally interfere with a split. But is a public body bound by our zoning code? It's a property owned by a public body bound by our zoning code.
I believe so, yeah. Yep, so just like the city, yeah, in any scenario, whether it's the city or whether it's the Ingham County Drain Commissioner's Office, they would be bound by our zoning code. So they wouldn't be able to, if I'm understanding what you're asking, whether it's related to the size of the parcel, size or orientation of the parcel, or whether development was proposed on this property in the future, which I don't anticipate. I think either way, we're covered by our zoning code.
And my next question is, have we heard from the drainage district?
I have not seen any communications from the drainage district. Ms. McMillan may have more information on that, and if necessary, I can find that. I can get that for us for a future meeting.
Because I'm wondering if they're willing to take this property. You said it had something to do with financing, I believe.
Yeah, I'll let the applicant
explain that.
My understanding is related to refinance in the presence of the floodplain.
All right, well, I have her, I wondered if it had something to do with the floodplain. We'll have her explain why she is seeking to split the lot and divest herself of, I guess, the 30 feet border of the property. Will the remaining property be conforming, or is that a grandfathered non-conforming property?
It will be non-conforming. However, the city council can grant a variance for it for size and for not having access to a public street, which would typically be the standards that you'd be looking at for land division.
So would it be grandfathered in, or would there have to be city council allow a variance?
City council would be granting the variance. So in land division specifically, if this was a different scenario and the parcel didn't meet, well, sorry, I have to orient. I'm used to township government. It's a little bit different with a land division in city government. When council considers this request, they by ordinance are granted the authority to grant that variance that during that time. So typically variances are granted by the zoning board of appeals. In this case, for land divisions, the city council can do that.
And is the property, the structure and everything, is that conforming to the present zoning code?
The apartment complex is conforming, yes, and will remain so following the division.
All right, thank you. Those are my
Thanks.
questions.
Any other questions for Mr. Menzer? Commissioner Wolf?
Yes. On the survey document, which I have as page 13 out of 37, there's one thing that struck me as odd. I was looking over on the west end of the property where it's going to be split. And at the top of that diagram, it says approximate location of 100-foot Clinton County drain easement. And since this is in Ingham County, I was wondering why there's a reference to Clinton County there. At least I'm pretty sure even the northern part of this is still in Ingham County.
I spoke with a member of our Parks Department today. My understanding it's also in Ingham County. That very well may be an error, but I can sleuth that out for the commission. Or maybe the applicant may have some information about it, but I believe that's an error.
Okay, and then just as far as the easements go, you said that there is an easement here along the west edge for the trail. There must also be an easement that covers the drain, correct?
There is.
And so my question is, those would, what is my question? Would the remaining large property still have an easement for the drain on it, or would that now be completely unnecessary because the drain commission would own enough land, they would no longer need an easement of any kind for the drain? And maybe that's, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe that's a question for the applicant's attorney there.
My understanding is that all easements remain in place. So this dividing the land doesn't change that one way or the other. I don't have an answer for you right now on whether or not the drain easement would need to remain in place. I'm seeing that 100 feet on the west side of the parcel. That very well may be the drain easement. It's not labeled here, but we can ask the applicant, and if they don't have an answer tonight, I can get it for you.
Right. So perhaps if they're taking 30 feet off and deeding it away, then there might be a 70-foot easement left there. Right?
Yeah.
In place, that would be for the drain. All right.
Right. Yep. In both scenarios, whether or not this goes through, or whether the division is ultimately granted by council, both the pathway and the drain will continue to have the same rights under the easements as they do today, in terms of access and maintenance.
All right.
Any other questions for Mr. Menzer? Okay, I'll, Ms. Urdialis, if you could let our applicant, or if there's more than one, I think all the other three were for the MSU FCU. So let Ms. McMillan join us, please.
Yes, McMillan is in the queue and ready to speak.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening. Thank you very much for taking the time to address our concerns tonight and look at this lot split. We've addressed it. I know the question was asked with Intercounty Drain Commission, and we have had a meeting with the Intercounty Drain Commission back in March, on March 26th, and we're granted approval of them accepting a deed to this the west 30 feet of our property. Documents have been prepared, and we're ready to move on that as soon as and if we get receive approval from the Planning Commission and City Council. So in answer to the question on the Clinton County, why the survey references Clinton County drain, is the drain is actually the Remy Chandler Intercounty Drain Drainage District, and that includes Ingham and Clinton County. That drain runs through Ingham and Clinton County. And that's probably why it's referenced on the survey as such. The history behind this is we went to refinance our project. A site inspector came out to the project and observed that there is a sidewalk within that 100-year floodplain. HUD's guidelines have changed, and as part of those guidelines, you cannot have any kind of improvements within a floodway on the property, or they will not finance the property. The city sidewalk is considered an improvement in HUD's eyes. So their suggestion was that we need to somehow dispose of this sidewalk area. And our best course of action was that there is a drain that runs parallel to that city sidewalk, and which already has an easement. I think it's back from either 1913 or 1916. The deed or the easement that I have is not exactly fully legible. I think it's 1913. That easement covers, I think it was addressed on the survey, it does, that will stay in place as there is more land that easement covers, which is on the neighboring property adjacent to the west side. So that will stay in place. The City of East Lansing has an easement currently with the Drain Commission as well to keep their city sidewalk on that area of land. So as our best course of action to receive our HUD refinancing, we are requesting that this lot split be approved and we be able to deed the property over to the Inter-County Drain Commission. Does anybody have any questions, any further questions for me?
Any other questions for Ms. McMillan? Commissioner Wolf.
Yeah, the same question that I asked earlier, I'm still curious about. If this 30 feet is split off of the main property, will the main property still have an easement on its remaining western end for the drain?
The drain easement will stay in place. It covers more land to the west of even that 30 feet adjacent to the current property. So if you can tell, it's Homestead. If you look at the survey, it's Homestead on Lake Lansing LLC owns property to the west that the Inter-County Drain traverses through.
Yeah, I'm not asking about that. I'm asking about the Arbor Glen property. After the Arbor Glen property is shortened by 30 feet, will there still be a portion of it on its west end that has an easement for the drain?
I would have to check that legal description, but I believe so. I believe that 100-year floodplain, yeah, the line, if you look at the line, there's a dotted line.
Yes.
That runs, that is the 100-year floodplain. That's the easement area for the Inter-County Drain Commission.
It's much clearer on the detail survey, the one that's that was prepared by Geodetic Designs Incorporated.
Mm-hmm.
What page are you on?
Well, of the overall packet, it is on page 41 of 96.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the other.
It's clearer on that one because it actually shows the overlay of the deeded piece of property. It's in the bold. So there's a bold rectangle. The dots.
Yeah, I don't have the page, so it's not helping at the moment. Is it well near the end of the packet or?
Nope. Let's see. Let me see if I can get you there.
It's on page 37 of the individual packet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 100-foot floodplain, and so it will be still on portion of the Arbor Glen property.
Are you there? Excuse me, Commissioner Wolf?
Yeah, I can't see the dimensions. I can't tell where the 30 feet that's being given away here falls within that. So
the bold rectangle is the 30 feet, sort of east-west, side to side. The two dark dots indicate the existing corners of the property. The two light dots are the new corners of the property once that 30 feet is removed. And then if you look at near the top of the page, it says 100-year drain easement, Libert 72, page 449.
Okay,
So it'll still be the drain easement will, the 100-year drain, the 100-foot drain easement will still remain, but this removes the property from the 100-year floodplain line, which you can see that's labeled closer to the bottom of the page on it, and it's written sideways.
right, I understood that. So it looks, assuming this is all to scale, which obviously it has to be, it looks like there would be about 30 feet still left as an easement. It looks
Agreed.
about the same width as what's being given away.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Good question. Any other questions for Ms. McMillan? And I'm seeing no hands. If Ms. McMillan, if you'd stay close, just in case there are, I'm going to open up the public hearing in case any members of the public have questions.
Yes, thank you very much.
Ms. Realis, would you please invite our members of the MSU FCU to, if they have any questions about our drain easement issue?
All right, the caller with the last three numbers of 301, you are now allowed to speak. .301, the floor is yours.
Mr. Woderko? There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Sorry.
we can. Thanks.
Yes. No, I have no questions about this.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The next person in the queue has the initials of GP. You are now allowed to speak.
I don't have any questions on that either. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person in the queue has the initials of JT. You are now allowed to speak.
I have no questions for this issue.
Thank you. And the last person in the queue is with the initials of KB. You are now allowed to speak.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you all. And with that, then we'll close the public hearing. We're going to return this to the commission. Are there any questions that remain either for staff or for the applicant? Barring that, it is the commission's pleasure to, if you want to act on this evening, we can proceed down that path. Commissioner Wolf.
I'll move that we suspend our bylaw rule 4.c to vote on the evening of the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. That's been moved by Commissioner Wolf and seconded by, was that Commissioner Sullivan, to suspend the rules and act on this item this evening. Is there any discussion on that motion?
Yeah, I'll just say that I didn't realize before it was rule 4.c until it was put into this staff report.
Well, now we know.
I've been digging around your bylaws.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll, let Mr. Menzer, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Cahill. Absent. Commissioner Sullivan.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyle.
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf.
Yes.
Commissioner Lapine.
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowman.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Yes.
8-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Commissioner Wolf, thank you.
I'll move that we recommend approval to the City Council of the request of Bethany McMillan to split the western 30 feet of the existing multifamily residential lot located in the 100-year flood zone at 295 Arbor Glen Drive to deed to the Remy Chandler Inter-County Drainage District, subject to the following, or subject to the 3 conditions of approval in the staff report.
Thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second Wagner.
It's been moved by Commissioner Wolf and seconded by Commissioner Wagner to recommend approval of the lot split to City Council. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing no hands, and so Mr. Menser, could we have a roll call vote again, please?
Yes. Commissioner Cahill is absent. Commissioner Sullivan,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf,
Yes.
Commissioner Lapine,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner,
Yeah.
Commissioner Bowman,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Yes.
The yeses have it.
That motion carries. Thank you, everyone. It looks like Ms. McMillan is not, she's still here, but I don't know that we can hear her. She's not sort of part of the meeting. So thank you. Oh, no, that's Mr. Woodorko. So thank you. Thank you for your time. And I guess you'll see City Council on this shortly. I don't know that she can respond. So thank you. That will move us on to item 7.1, old business. This is an application for a special use permit and site plan approval from Neumann Smith Architecture to demolish the existing 4-lane drive-up credit union branch building and 2-lane ATM canopy structure and construct a 1-story, 9,936 square foot headquarter branch office building with 5 new drive-through lanes and associated parking at 3775 Coolidge Road. Mr. Menser.
Thank you. Nothing has changed since the last time the Planning Commission saw this request. The only difference in the staff report is the addition of conditions on page, I just wanted to have it for you, page 48 of the larger packet. And sorry, page 7 of the individual item for this. So they're fairly typical conditions that are used with development projects here in the city.
And as we know, the members of the development team are available for any questions if anybody has any. Commissioner Wolf.
Yeah, I have a question. It's not really related to the development, but it's something I was curious about. After this branch is built, will there still be types of business that members will have to go to the headquarters building for? I assume you're trying to move most of the member interaction to the branch, but I was wondering what other kinds of business they might have where they would have to go to the headquarters building.
I'm not sure. Ms. Buck, I guess I'll start with you if you're best person to handle that. Thank you.
So, I was actually going to defer to Walt Waderko if he could speak to that, because I really don't know that there would need to be any member activity at the headquarters building, but I would ask if he could perhaps speak to that.
Sure. All the function of the branch that's in HQ1 right now will move over to here. Aside from we do have safe deposit boxes that are at HQ, and those will remain there. So that would be where members would come to that branch or to that building.
Okay, thank you. I was looking for any services like that were kind of tied to that building. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the applicants or for staff? Well, then if not, then I think it's the commission's pleasure. The motion will be in order. Commissioner Wolf.
I'll move that we recommend to City Council approval of the request from Neumann Smith Architects for special use permit and site plan approval to demolish the existing 4-lane drive-up credit union branch building and 2-lane ATM canopy structure and construct a 1-story, 9,936 square foot headquarter branch office building with 5 new drive-through lanes and associated parking at 3775 Coolidge Road, subject to the 13 conditions in the staff report of June 4th.
Thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second? Oh, Vice Chair Boyle? No, okay. Is there a second on that motion?
Commissioner Hendricks, second.
Thank you. That's been moved by Commissioner Wolf and seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to recommend approval of the request to construct the building as outlined in the staff report. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing no hands, so Mr. Menzer, could we again have a roll call vote, please?
Yep. Commissioner Cahill is absent. Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf?
Yes.
Commissioner Lapine?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowman?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendricks?
Yes.
8-0, motion passes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, MSU FCU team. And again, you'll presumably see City Council within the next several weeks as well.
Thank you so very much for your time this evening. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. Moving back to the agenda, we have no new business. And item 9, commissioner concerns. Do any commissioners have concerns they'd like to raise? Vice Chair Boyle.
Yes, thank you. Not really a concern, but I note that Fire Chief Telefaro is resigning, and the Director of Parks and Recreation, Tim McCafferty, is also resigning. I had the opportunity to work with both of those individuals, and they have both given exemplary service to the city over the years. They will be greatly missed. I'm sorry to see them go, but I certainly wish them the best in their retirement. And also, the city has lost some other, not to retirement, but to other position employees over the past several months. And I do worry a bit about that departure and what reason or reasons may be causing it, because employees are the lifeblood of the city, and they're really what keep things going. So hopefully the rest of you are going to stay around and continue to work with us. And if you need more support than you're getting, please let us know, because we value your service. Thank you.
Any other concerns or comments that anybody would like to make? Commissioner Sullivan?
I debated bringing this up, but I wanted to speak briefly about the Albert Avenue closing. I think it's a great idea. I'm just a little disappointed at what I find the confusing nature of the beverage restrictions there. Last year, I recall alcoholic beverages being allowed throughout. This year, I believe it's limited to just restaurant patios, which I think defeats the purpose a little bit. I'll say anecdotally, a couple we're friends with from Okemos went downtown this past weekend just to check it out. And due to longer wait times at restaurants due to COVID, it being a weekend, et cetera, they sat at a picnic table and then asked an officer if they could have drinks there, and they were very disappointed that they could not. The wait was over an hour. They just sat there and they were very disappointed and said that they're so disappointed they weren't going to come back down there. I just find it to be a missed opportunity. I know Lansing is doing it a little bit differently with their social districts, which I think is a much better idea. I think people are going to continue going downtown, and they're going to continue to be disappointed because it's not what they expected it to be. And I guess if the goal is to help businesses downtown and make it more vibrant, then I think this falls short of the mark.
And I wouldn't presume to know how that was established. If anybody does, feel free to say something. And that sounds, I suspect it's something that, if it strikes you that seriously, a call to council or wouldn't be remiss. Vice Chair Boyle? So do you have any insight? Oh, okay. I thought maybe.
I did not listen to the discussions. They were open. Tables were open in the fall. I think it was the fall earlier. And I didn't think there were the restrictions at that time, but maybe I'm mistaken.
No, there weren't. In fact, I spoke with Peter Dewan about when this was sort of being developed. And he'd said that, I never witnessed it, but he said that it was periodically people, presumably younger people, would buy a 12-pack and sit at the tables and enjoy the ambiance that a 12-pack of beer will bring, I suppose. And I don't know if that the intention was to avoid that or not. But I think that that potentially was the reason that it's limited, whether appropriate or not. Probably not for me to say. Mr. Menzer, did I see your hand as you had a thought about?
I was just going to say, Commissioner Sullivan mentioned it, but yeah, they didn't do the social districts this year. I heard something similar to you, Commissioner Bowman, although I was not on the team and didn't know a lot about it at the time. But that's the reason why we don't, not the reason you mentioned, but just the general, we don't have the social districts this year is the reason alcohol is not allowed out in the open part of Albert.
I actually will be in a meeting with Peter tomorrow. I'll raise it with him if you'd like. And again, I don't know that he'll have an answer, but I know that he's much closer to it than I was.
Mention it to Director Fehrenbach as well.
Oh, there we go. Sure. Commissioner Wolf.
Yeah, I understood that the way Lansing was doing it was that any of the restaurants who were selling mixed drinks or beverages or alcohol had special glasses or other mugs or whatever that were marked and recognizable, and those were the ones you could drink from in the area. If East Lansing did something like that, it would eliminate the problem of coming in with a retail, 12-pack of something. But I assume they know what Lansing's doing, so they considered that. But it seems like a good solution to me.
Perhaps a specially labeled paper bag. Any other, sorry, Mr. Sullivan, or Commissioner Sullivan, it was intended for a little levity. Any other concerns or comments? If not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Wolf, so moved.
Thank you.
Sullivan, second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Wolf and seconded by Commissioner Sullivan to adjourn the meeting. Well, let's have a voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed. Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:43. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good to see you all.
Stay
See you
safe.
again soon.
Thanks.
Good night, everyone.